What's up, you guys? It's ZacJacDan back with another Every Tiger Sharks video. And guys, this is exciting because Tiger Sharks was one of my favorite shows. Didn't last very long, but it was a spinoff from the Thundercats and the Silverhawks. So guys, get ready for Every Tiger Sharks.
You got a tiger by the tail. Hold on, Tiger Sharks. Tiger Sharks. Look for a spaceship with a sail and hold on, Tiger Sharks. Tiger Sharks. Hold on, Tiger Sharks.
So this was came out in the 80s with Rankin Bass putting it out. Again, I told you this came out after Thundercats and Silverhawks. Wasn't as popular. Neither all the popularity went down from Thundercats and then Silverhawks, and then Tiger Sharks. And this was a one-line series that came out. Had 8 figures. So here's a little snippet from Wikipedia if you want to pause it and read over it. Just showing that the Tiger Sharks and the Silverhawks kind of made a little cameo in the 2011 Thundercats remake. Shows that this Tiger Shark show was a 26 episode season that was part of the comic strip, along with Street Frogs, Mini Monsters, and Karate Cat. Warner Brothers owns this property now. And it talks a little bit about the fish tank that allowed them to do their transformation. So guys, pause it and read that if you want to talk about that.
Are your kids monsters? Captain Minimon's the answer. And who can do hip-hop better than a frog can? Get down with the Street Frogs. And hold on for exciting action and underwater adventure with the Tiger Sharks. All coming up on the OMIC-STRIP. Come on, take a trip on the comic strip.
So here is a list of all 26 of the episodes from the Tiger Sharks. If you want to pause it and check that out, that's pretty cool. Here's the heroes of the Tiger Sharks. You have Mako, Waro, Dolph, Octavia, Lorca, Bronk, Angel, and Gup. And we'll go over all those here in a second. But if you want to pause it and read over a little bit about them, you can. So here is the team in their human form and in their fish form. So here the team is in their ship called the Sark, and also the younger members of the team on their surfboards with sails. That would have been a cool thing to see in toy form, in my opinion. Here's a picture of their ship, the Sark. Has a sail so it could actually go in water, underwater, and out into space. So they did have a prototype for the Sark itself as a toy, but it was never released. This looks pretty amazing, especially when you compare it to what it shows as the cartoon. Not a bad representation of it. Also, they had the Shark Tank playset that was never released. And again, when you compare it to what the Shark Tank looked like on the cartoon, very good representation, very nice picture of what this could have looked like. So there was a DVD release that came out at all 26 shorts. And there was some other releases of it as well. But here's all 8 of the characters that were released on their card backs. So you can kind of compare them all. Here they all are loose, and some promotional art, and also someone's collection. So starting off, we're going to look at Bronk, and this is before his transformation, and also his action figure before the transformation. And then here he is after his transformation, and these figures would actually kind of flip their heads over so they could transform for you. So here he is on his card back, and shows the back of the card as well. And here's both pictures of the figure. And here is a custom of what it would look like if we had this figure in a 6-inch form compared to what he looked like in the cartoon. So next we have Doc Walrow. This is him in his human form. And here he is in his walrus form. So here is his figure with both the walrus and the human form, and the card back and the card front. And he comes with Gup, their little pet. And here is an example of some customs of what they would look like in 6-inch form. And there is the figure loose in both forms. And here is Gup's card with him as a dog. And as this fish form. So here is Lorca as a killer whale on the right hand side in his character form, or as a figure form, and on the left hand side before he transforms. And there he is after he transformed into the killer whale. And also a custom 6-inch figure that kind of gets me excited to see one of these made here in the future. And here it is on the card back and with the transformation of his figure. Some more custom 6-inch Dolph, Mako, and Octavia. So here is Dolph in a 6-inch form, and also him in his human form. Of course, he's a dolphin. So here he is with his card and the transformations. Now here's something pretty awesome. They actually made a shark hammer that actually was on the card backs for the figures, but this was unreleased as well. Then we have Mako. Here he is in a custom 6-inch. Here's the card back. Here he is transformed, and another custom 6-inch beside it. The actual figure with the card back and the transformation of his human to shark form. Then we have Octavia, which is her in her human form, and her in her octopus form in a custom 6-inch. This one was never made in an action figure. Another custom 6-inch, and her in her cartoon form. Then you have Angel, again, was not made in a toy, her in her human form, and her transformation form as an angelfish, and then a custom 6-inch over to the right. So it's pretty cool. They had a telepathic message that they could send. They would say, "Tiger, tiger, by the tail," and you could see it coming out of her head, going up to the shark to communicate with each other. So kind of jumping over to some side characters, we had the police lineup. This was a group of fish people from they're called the Watarians from Wataria. And here's the group of villains. We had T-Ray and his group, the Mantanas. You had Walleye, Shad, Dredge, Carper, Weakfish. And then you had Captain Bizarrely's group. They were all pirates. You had Dragonstein, Long John Silverfish, Spike Marlin, Soulmate, Lump, and Grunt. So we'll get into those here in a second. You can pause this and read about them if you'd like to. So here's T-Ray's ship. Here's his group of villains. So here's T-Ray himself. They did make a figure of him, but this is a custom 6-inch figure. And here is the actual figure we got released back in the day. Came with a helmet because he could not breathe out of the water, of course. He had Walleye, Shad the Bad, Weak Fish, and his brother Carper. Here they are with Gup chewing on their tails. They're kind of a weak couple of little guys. Then you have Dredge with his eel wrapped around his arm. So jumping over to the pirates, here they are frozen in ice, and they were thawed out later on by T-Ray when he shows up. So here's that group of pirates. Here's their ship. And here is their base of operations, Dragon's skeleton. So here's Captain Bizarrely himself. And he was made into an action figure form. Here's his pet, Dragonstein. And this would have been amazing, but was not released. They actually made a toy prototype of him. Could breathe fire and fly. So here's Soulmate, Grunt, Spike Marlin, and they did make an action figure of Spike Marlin here. Long John Silverfish, the Lump, and if you notice on the bottom right, the Lump could actually make all kinds of different shapes, roll around, and attack people. And there's T-Ray and his buddy with their helmets on, so you can see that they could not breathe out of water. Another toy was the Saw Bill Cycle. That was prototype, but they never made. So there's the comparison of the toy versus what it showed looked like in the cartoon. So last year I did a top 10 most expensive Tigersharks video. I also did this for all kinds of other figures, so go back and check out what last year's prices were for some things. But here is the top 5 and some honorable mentions. My rules or guidelines for what considered the top 10 on eBay were the fact that it had to have more than one bid. Had to be within the last 3 months or so at the time. So here are what I show for last year's. You can take a look at those prices. So I'm going to go with the 2020, or the last 4 months, I should say, of the top 10 most expensive Tigersharks from eBay. I'm going to change my rules just a little bit this year because there are so little of these on eBay and out there in the world. So I'm going to mention $85 for Captain Bizarrely loose, 19 bids. So my rules last year were the fact that it had to have more than one bid, had to be an auction, not a buy it now or a best offer. So because there's so little, I'm going to keep on going with this list, but kind of break those rules. So this was a best offer, which would not have been on my list last year, but this year I'm going to put it on there just because. So T-Ray loose, $95. Mako loose, $125. This was a buy it now. Also, kind of going back with my prices here, the rules are that it has to be the auction price plus the shipping price to give the full price of what it cost them. So at number 8, $175 for Doc Walro, and this one actually was an auction with 14 bids. He went loose without even having a gut figure. Number 7, $185 for Spike Marlin loose. This was a best offer. Number 6, $225 for Dolph loose, best offer. Number 5, $232 for Captain Bizarrely, mint on card, buy it now. Number 4, $342 for Captain Bizarrely, mint on card, AFA graded, 75, buy it now. Number 3, $387 for another Captain Bizarrely, mint on card, best offer. Number 2, $425 for T-Ray, mint on card. This one actually had one bid. And number 1, $462 for Bronk, mint on card, AFA 75 graded, buy it now. Check out that list. That's crazy prices for these things. So I'm going to also throw in some lots that were sold here just to kind of see what kind of prices those go for. This lot right here at the top was sold 3 different times. Same exact lot every time. Different prices. Now, I think it was because it was going to Canada. They must have been canceling the auction or something because of shipping prices maybe. But the first time it sold was October 28th, $487. Sold again November 6th, $390. So the price went down. And sold one more time on November 23rd for $304. And that time I never saw it listed again. So it must have finally shipped out with that auction. So it came with Lorca, Doc Waldo, and Dolph. Also, this lot right here of 4 sold for $375 with the best offer on October 30th. And this one came with T-Ray with his helmet, Captain Bizarrely, Mako, and Doc Waldo. So these are still out there for sale right now if you want to take a look at this list and see what you can possibly buy. Pause it if you want to here and take a look. Go out there and search for Tigersharks on eBay. Also, they've made some custom 3D printed prototypes out there. So there's a Dragonstein out there, again, not painted, $83 for best offer. It's a 10-inch figure. There's a Grunt prototype and also a Lump prototype. The Grunt goes for $53, it's 5-inch, and the Lump for $33. This is a market that is so still out there. I love this show, and would love if they finally turn some of these old shows into movies one of these days. But wishful thinking, right? So last year, here's a comparison of 2019 versus 2020. Last year, Dolph Loose sold at auction with 9 bids for $237. This year, it went down, sold for $225. So that one went down a little bit. Last year, Mako Loose sold at auction 14 bids for $211. This year was a buy it now for $125. Again, the price went down. Last year, Doc Waldo Loose sold at auction 1 bid for $192. That one had the gut figure with it. This year, without the gut, sold for $175. So again, it went down, but it did not have the gut figure, so that makes sense maybe. Last year, Spike Marlin sold loose with 1 bid for $122. This year, it went up. Best offer for $185. Last year, Captain Bizarrely sold loose with 3 bids for $67. This year went for $85, so the price went up on that one. And last year, T-Ray sold loose for $52. This year for $95. So again, the price went up on that one as well. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It was a whole lot of stuff about the Tigersharks, but I love the Tigersharks. So, you got everything I got for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys later. Guys, don't forget to check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. You can find all the photos that you want of these videos.